Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
Exploring faith and the future. Neil Johnson and Bible teacher Dr. Camille Majdali.
Talking through the nitty-gritty of what it is to face temptation as a believer. Camille, let's talk today about just how far we can be tempted. Is it the case that sometimes we can be tempted far beyond what we could ever bear, and there's nothing that could keep us from falling?
Well, the promise of Scripture, Neil, fortunately, is much more hopeful than that. Our main verse here in this mini-series about handling temptation is 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 13. And in that, we've learned that, first of all, temptation, even our specific temptation, is common to everyone. It's not like we're the one and only to face that dire circumstance. The second thing we've learned is that God is faithful. He is with us. He promised to be with us. God doesn't lie. He is with us even when we're tempted. And He's with us even if we stumble and fall, because the steps of a good man are ordered of the Lord. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, says the psalmist, because God upholds him in His hand. The third thing I think we need to learn is whatever temptation we face, it's not going to overwhelm us if we are abiding in God. Recently, I spoke to somebody who was telling me their catalog of trials and tribulations, and I gave a most unexpected response. I said to them, "You must be a very strong person, very strong." They're looking at me, thunderstruck. "What do you mean strong? I'm going through all these trials and tribulations." And then I calmly replied, "Well, nothing you're going through is going to overwhelm you, because God, in faithfulness, will not tempt you beyond what you can bear. It's possible that if some other people went through what you're going through, they would be toast, but you're not. And I believe that's because you're a strong person. Just make sure you're strong in the right way and not so stubborn that God is allowing temptation to get your attention."
Do you think part of our weakness is that sometimes we willfully put ourselves in the way of temptation, and then we start to say, God's not strong enough to keep me from it?
There is some of this putting God to the test, is basically that's what you're describing, allowing yourself in a compromising situation and then basically wondering, why doesn't God take you out? God can deliver us, and sometimes He does, even from our own folly. Sometimes, though, He may allow us to singe our fingers a little so that we will learn the lesson and hopefully never repeat the mistake. But God is not sadistic. He's not unmerciful. He's not unkind. He wants to see us through. He wants us to have victory. But for that to happen, we need to want it as well. And if we want the victory and the overcoming power, we need to do everything God's way, all the way.
When we've faced temptation and done that victoriously, how does that affect the way we are strengthened and matured in our faith?
When we overcome temptation, we become stronger people. In addition, we can lean on the experience of overcoming that temptation to help encourage others, because remember, as we learned, others are going through the same thing we did. We are not unique. We are not alone. Also, think of it like weight training. When the weight is the heaviest, that's when we become the strongest.
Faith and the Future with Neil Johnson and Dr. Camille Majdali from Teach All Nations. For more from Dr. Majdali, including books and DVDs on prophecy, Bible commentaries, plus today's and other episodes of Faith and the Future, go to vision.org.au.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.